a few people here already, and well, I think we just have half an hour, so I want to cover as much as I can in this 30 minutes. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mugdha Pradhan. I'm a functional nutritionist. I am the founder of Thrive FNC, and what we do is we make diseases disappear. And what makes me the authority on weight loss? Well, I personally lost 37 kgs, and collectively, the Thrive Tribe, that's the group of patients we worked so far in the last 2 years, collectively we've lost 2000 kgs. I just did the math this morning, and you heard me right, it's 2000 kgs that we've taken off as a load on this planet. And these people who lost this weight have done this without any crash diets, without any random long fasts or any of that. They've done this while eating rice and mangoes and bananas and fruits and desserts, and they've managed to keep that weight off, which is more important. A lot of people do lose weight, but what's really critical here with these 2000 kgs that I speak of is that those have stayed off, those haven't come back on, right? So that's essentially what we want to speak about today, that what are really the most important things to know when it comes to not just losing weight but even keeping it off. So before we even begin about those 3 secrets that I'm going to talk about, of our secret sauce of how people lost 2000 kgs, here's one primary rule number 1 that one should never forget when it comes to weight loss. You cannot eat more than you burn. Like, you cannot eat more calories than you burn and expect to lose weight. So that's the primary rule, no matter which method of weight loss you're going to follow, whether you're going to do intermittent fasting or whether you're going to do keto or whatever it is you've tried. Understand this, that the only way you're going to continue to lose weight is if you consume lesser than you're going to burn. Okay, so that's rule number 1. That being said, we've often had a lot of people who come to us, who come to me for weight loss, saying that, I was on a 800 calorie diet, I was on a 1000 calorie diet, I was just eating 1 meal a day, and I still didn't lose weight. I lost 2 kgs and then I plateaued and I wasn't losing beyond that. So that is what we're going to talk about, that given that you have understood this underlying principle that to lose weight you have to burn more than you consume, and you still aren't losing weight or you're still gaining weight, then what could be those root causes? So the structure of this is going to be, we just have 30 minutes. I have another session after this at 4:30. So I'm going to see and keep this as condensed as possible. I'm going to speak for maybe 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to keep the rest of the time for questions so that I can really answer some of your queries. So going to the secret number 1, right? So what is the biggest reason we, especially Indians, why do we gain weight so easily? Why do we have this tendency for, abdominal fat, and our weight gain is like, we look more like, it's this kind of shape that we see. There's a lot of weight on our hips and abdomen, and what's the reason for that? So one of the primary reasons why people gain weight, one of the root causes, one of the secrets that I speak of is something called as insulin resistance. Now, a lot of you would have heard the word insulin because India is the diabetes capital of the world. So either you or somebody in your family, your loved ones, your parents, somebody might have been diagnosed with diabetes by now. And in all likelihood, they have been given some kind of medication to bring their blood sugar level down, right? So either metformin or glycomet, or one of those medications that they are on to bring their blood sugar levels down. And like, people think it's normal that, for a few years, sugar will go least control hoga, that sugar is going to be controlled by tablet, and after some years, you're going to be dependent on insulin injection. So a lot of people have heard the word insulin in association with diabetes and blood sugar levels, but they don't really understand what insulin is there for in the body. So I'm just going to keep it as simple as possible. But what insulin does, it's a hormone that takes glucose from your food inside every cell. So this is your cell that's going to use glucose to make energy and give you all the energy that you need to do your dance sessions or whatever workouts you're doing right now. So glucose is what goes in, and your cell uses glucose to make energy. Now insulin is the carrier for that glucose. So imagine insulin is the car and glucose is the passenger. So insulin is what is going to take glucose from point A to point B. Like insulin is the Uber kind of a thing, right? So if your cell is not going to open up to insulin, then the glucose can't go inside. So cell is here, insulin comes with glucose, but because the cell says no insulin, I'm not going to open up, the glucose can't go in, and then you have extra glucose floating around in your blood, which is what gets diagnosed as blood sugar. तो मुझे शुगर हो गया है या मेरा शुगर बढ़ गया है और I have high blood sugar or I have diabetes is nothing but an excess accumulation of glucose in your bloodstream because your cells are not opening up to insulin. Now how does this lead to weight gain? So I'll tell you Amit's story. Okay, so Amit is one of our patients, he's one of our Thrive Tribe members, and I think he's lost about 18-19 kgs so far. So he had tried keto, he had tried intermittent fasting, he had tried so many things, and that intermittent fasting thing had given him such bad acid reflux because he was eating only like maybe for 6-7 hours, and then he was fasting through the day, and then he was getting acidity, and then he was on antacids. He was really sick. So he came to us for weight loss, of course, and then he told us all these other symptoms, and then when we did his history and we found out he'd done so many things to try and lose weight, we just asked him to go through our diagnostic panel. We usually depend on blood tests to kind of get to the root cause, right? So he did his blood test and we found that he had severe insulin resistance, which meant that his cells were not opening up to insulin and there was a lot of extra sugar floating around in his body, but he was not diagnosed with diabetes. And this is the key about insulin resistance, right? You can have insulin resistance for nearly 10 years before you get diagnosed with diabetes. So he was not diabetic. What his body was doing is it was converting that extra blood sugar into fat and storing it. So blood sugar levels were never very high, but insulin resistance was there. So all that extra sugar that was floating around, which is really harmful for the body was converting it into fat and storing it. So no matter whether he was doing keto and eating a very low calorie diet, or whether he was doing intermittent fasting, or whether he was doing dry fast, or he was doing water fast, no matter what he did, the little that he ate, his body would use that, convert it into glucose in digestion, and then convert it into fat and store it. So that's why he wasn't losing weight for so many years. All it took is for us to like find that root cause, and we started reversing his insulin resistance, and just with food, right? No medicines, no supplements, nothing. Just with food, we started reversing his insulin resistance, and he's lost nearly 18-19 kgs now. Like people who met him a year ago and who have met him, like now nobody's meeting each other, but even until Feb, when people were meeting each other, he said he'd gone for his college reunion, and people are like, you look much younger than you did even in college, right? So that's what's happened to his body. So that's what insulin resistance does, and that's like root cause number one why we as Indians tend to gain weight very, very fast. So India, as I've said this, but I'm saying it again, India is the diabetes capital of the world, and this is of real big concern right now, because if you're reading what's happening with COVID-19, the highest comorbidity is of people who have diabetes as an underlying condition. So I would really urge you to get your insulin levels checked and to make sure you're not somebody who is predisposed to diabetes. Alright, so that is one root cause. So reversing insulin resistance immediately results in weight loss as a side effect. And this is what I tell all my patients, that your body gaining weight is just a symptom of some underlying dysfunction. So your body is using weight as a trigger to tell you, hey, something's wrong, look at me, fix it right now. If you go out in the sun for too long, if it's too hot, if you're standing out in the hot sun, you're going to get a headache in all likelihood. So your body is telling you, this heat is too much for me to bear. Get out of this heat right now, it's going to harm you. So it's giving you a signal like a headache to tell you, get out of here. Your weight is something similar. It's just a signaling mechanism from your body to tell you that something's wrong internally, please fix it. And insulin resistance is one of those things that can go wrong in your body. So that's secret number one, right? So one is insulin resistance. I don't know how many people are watching this right now, but given the statistics we've seen, like the government statistics say that 1 in every second Indian is predisposed to diabetes, but given our blood tests and what the work we've done, we've seen that almost everybody comes to us with insulin resistance. Now, the second root cause why someone could gain weight is if your liver, which is an organ that's here, if your liver is not functioning well. And this person from Bangalore had come to us for weight loss, right? His name is Chinni. He is like pretty senior in the corporate world, and he used to drink, like he was not an alcoholic, but he would drink socially for meetings when they would have dinner meetouts. He would drink. He was eating because he was also somebody who focused on protein a lot. He was eating a lot of animal foods. He was eating eggs. He was eating that simultaneously while eating, like, regular traditional Indian food. And he had started gaining weight slowly, like over time he had started gaining weight. And he came to us because he was a runner and he was still gaining weight. He was exercising in the gym and he was still gaining weight, right? So he was like, something's wrong, I don't know why I'm gaining weight. And he came to us. Again, with him, we did his blood test and we found out that his liver was severely impacted. So we found a lot of heavy metals in his liver that had come in from the environment, from his cookware. They would use a lot of non-stick cookware and aluminium in their house, so a lot of heavy metals had come in from there. The alcohol that he was having, even in those limited quantities, was impacting his liver. All the fatty food that he was having, right, the fried food and all of that, because of his corporate life, the kind of food he was eating was kind of going and impacting his liver. So in the end, what happened was his liver started becoming dysfunctional. So his liver enzymes, all those readings were off. That's something that we do. We look at all your blood tests. But what we found out from all his readings were his liver was not working well. And why does the liver cause weight gain? Because the liver, I think the liver is one of the most underestimated organs in the body. I mean, everybody knows about the heart, everybody knows about the brain, but nobody really talks about the liver as much as they should. And the liver is so important in so many metabolic processes, right from the process of detoxification to partnering with your immune system from different parts of your body, to creating the proteins that your body needs after digestion, like, after your food gets digested and broken down, using that to create proteins again, to maintain kind of your hemoglobin levels, to just be there. Like it's like the biggest filtration machine in your body. And most people don't know this, and the liver is regenerative to an extent, so it will be resilient, but at some point it gives up. So again, in his case, his body was using weight to signal him to say that, hey, your liver is messed up, please do something about it. So the weight that he was gaining was a signaling mechanism from his liver. And again, for us, like, all that we need to do is find the root cause, right? So we just found out that, okay, in his case, the only thing that was like not really working well was his liver. So we worked on his liver again with food. We helped his liver recover its function. We helped his liver just, breathe a bit. And soon enough, his weight started dropping. So weight loss has always been a side effect in the work that we do. We don't really obsess over, like, how many kgs did you lose, and 100 grams, 200 grams, 300. We don't do that. We look at the body as a whole. And as long as those internal dysfunctions are getting fixed, we know that the external is going to change, right? So weight loss is going to happen when your internals start getting fixed. So in Chinni's case also, his liver dysfunction started getting better, and then he started losing weight. And what I'll do is, after I speak of the third cause, I'll actually speak of the symptoms that can maybe tell you if you're going through any of these three things. And the third one, right, so the first one was insulin resistance, the second one was a liver dysfunction. The third root cause that we know impacts weight, and most of you know this to a bit, is the thyroid. So your thyroid gland, along with your adrenals, so I'll speak of the adrenals a little more once I speak about the thyroid, but your thyroid gland is also what controls the entire metabolism of your body. And when I say metabolism, the thyroid is what decides how fast are you going to burn calories, how slowly are you going to burn calories. So I am getting a comment saying that my voice is not audible. Is that true? If if someone can't hear me, please let me know. I'll adjust the phone and get it a little closer. I think no, that was the only comment about my voice not being clear. But yeah, going to the thyroid, right? So the thyroid is what controls the metabolism in your body, and it's essentially your thermostat. It's telling, like, you know how you have your AC thermostat, but when you set it to 24, then 24 is what it will maintain the temperature at. If it gets too cold, it's going to shut down. If it gets too warm, it's going to start again. Your thyroid is like that. So the thyroid decides how many calories your body is going to burn, how fast it is going to burn calories, whether it's running at an optimal rate or not. And a lot of people, especially women, and this is the case I want to speak of. There was this lady, Snehal, who had just moved to the US from India, and in her case, she moved and she suddenly started gaining weight. Like she was putting on like 2 kgs, 3 kgs a month. And she was eating mostly the same food that she was eating before, even when she was in India, and she couldn't really figure out what was going on. And one of the reasons that we again looked at her blood work, and we found out that her thyroid was severely impacted because of the stress of moving, and not having a social circle, not having any close family members, having to do all the work on her own. Secondly, the fluoride in the water, drinking water there, the fluoride that was there was impacting with her thyroid's ability to absorb iodine, and that was creating a thyroid dysfunction. So because the thyroid was now dysfunctional, it had kind of slowed down the entire body's metabolism. So her body was not burning calories at all. It was very, very slow. It had become sluggish, and she started gaining weight. Internally, as a repercussion of that, her cholesterol levels started going up. Her lipid profile really went for a toss. Because her body was not burning fuel, again, insulin resistance started getting triggered. So the thyroid is the third reason why you could gain weight, right? So in her case also, we worked on the thyroid and we gave it the nutrients it needed. So it was deficient in iodine, it was deficient in selenium, it was deficient in B12. So we gave her thyroid all the nutrients it needed, and it started working well again, and she started losing weight. The other thing I spoke of, the adrenals, that's really tied to the kind of stress one perceives on a daily basis, and that's one more reason. So it's I would not call it the fourth reason, like it's not a separate reason because of which you would gain weight, but it could come with any of these, like your insulin resistance and your adrenal response, or your liver dysfunction and your adrenal response, or your thyroid and your adrenal response. It could come and it could start creating, it messes how your hormones function. So the adrenals are these two glands that are here on top of your kidneys, and what the adrenals do is they regulate your fight or flight response. So whether you run away from a situation or whether you have to fight with that situation is what the adrenals regulate. It's a very, very evolutionary system that's there in our body. From the time our ancestors were hunter-gatherers, right? So if they went hunting somewhere and they saw a tiger, they had to quickly decide whether to run away from the tiger, whether to fight the tiger or not. So based on that decision, their body would need to, if they had to run away, then their heart would need to pump more blood so that more blood would flow to their legs and hands, and they could move away from there as fast as possible. So the adrenals are the one that control that response, that, oh, this threat has come, let me deal with it like this, right? And what happens is, for our ancestors, it was just tigers. For us, there are many things, right? So there are physical stressors, there are relationship stressors, there are financial stressors, there are stress, now everybody's stressed for time, even though they're working from home. People are afraid of this virus that's there that might, suddenly attack them from somewhere. So much stress is there all the time. If you're watching mainstream media on television, that itself is stressful, right? Just their voices, listening to that becomes stressful. So there's constant stress in our environment, and our adrenals are continuously responding to that. Oh, here's a tiger, here's a tiger, here's a tiger, here's a tiger. And because of that, they start preparing your body for a fight all the time. When that happens, your body's resources towards other organs, right? Towards your liver, towards your thyroid, towards your pancreas, towards your heart and your brain. All those resources go off into just fighting this threat. And when I say resources, I'm speaking of nutrients, right? I'm speaking of, let's say, your glucose and your B complex vitamins and your vitamin C and everything you're getting from food. All of that starts going off just into fighting this stress. and because of that then other organ systems start becoming dysfunctional, and because of now those organ systems becoming dysfunctional, you tend to start gaining weight. So if your thyroid is now becoming dysfunctional because of constant stress, your body is going to slow down your metabolism and you're going to gain weight. So that is how the adrenal system or the stress hormone system responds and leads to weight gain. It's a cyclic effect. So it causes a cascade in the other organs and therefore you gain weight. So this also was happening in this lady's case, the one who had a thyroid issue, right? Because moving from your own comfort zone into a completely unknown country with no support system, with extremely cold weather, with no convenience of home deliveries and all of that, it really was getting difficult for her. So we addressed that as well. We addressed the stress aspect with other modalities, not just food. We brought in meditation. We brought, like, our coaching is really world class when it comes to that, and that's how we helped her, and she of course lost weight. So then the obvious question, a lot of people, when I tell them about insulin resistance, a lot of people then ask me, how do we know if we have it, right? Like, it sounds so scary. 1 in every second Indian is primed for it. Genetically we are all diabetic prone, so how do we know if we have it? So a few hallmarks of insulin resistance, even before you get diagnosed with diabetes, is you will crave for sweets. And it's not really about diabetics liking sweets because they are not allowed to have them. It's because your body knows sweet is the easiest form of getting glucose, and when insulin is not entering the cell, your body is deprived of, your cells are starving for glucose, right? So it's sending a signal to the brain all the time that send me some glucose, send me some glucose. So that's why the sweet craving comes. So if you're somebody who has eaten a meal and then instantly craves something sweet, it's very, very likely that you have a low level or a probable mid-level insulin resistance that's building up. The second symptom of insulin resistance is daytime sleepiness. So this energy slump that happens around 4 p.m., 4:30, 5 p.m. A lot of people experience this, like, absolute loss of energy. And that happens because, your body, like, you've slept and you've kind of given your body some recovery space. So through the day it's carried on, but by 4, it's exhausted its reserves and it cannot utilize any more glucose that's there in the bloodstream because cells are not opening up to it itself. So you feel this loss in energy. So a lot of people, that's when they have their second cup of tea or coffee in the day. Because that kind of preps them up. So daytime sleepiness, feeling sleepy after a meal, because you've eaten this meal and your body's done the job of digesting it, but you're still energy starved, right? So you're deficient in energy. So feeling really sleepy after a meal is another sign. The third, when it gets a little more serious, is like you have excessive thirst, like you're drinking water all the time and you're visiting the washroom all the time. So that excessive thirst is another sign of either pre-diabetes or a slightly severe form of insulin resistance. What are the symptoms of your liver being like, how would you know if your excess weight is because of these three? I'm just trying to give you symptomatic. We don't work on symptoms as much as we work on actual analysis of the root cause through your blood test. But I'm just trying to make your life a little easy here. So if your liver is dysfunctional, what you would see as symptoms are, you would have a lot of digestive issues. So people assume digestive issues are primarily driven by the gut microbiome. While that is true partially, your liver is responsible for a large part of the digestive process, especially bile is made in the liver. A lot of the digestive enzymes that are required are also made in the liver along with your pancreas. So if your liver is not working well, you would have digestive issues. You would either have a lot of gas and bloating after eating a heavy meal, or you might have other issues like, diarrhea or constipation when you eat something that doesn't really match with what you would call as eating a healthy meal. What else are problems of a liver dysfunction? Dark circles. A lot of people don't know this, but if you have dark circles, that's indicative of your liver not functioning really well. What else? Let me see if I forgot something. Skin problems. So many times we've had people who've come to us with really, really bad skin, though that's not their primary concern. They come to us for something else. They come to us for weight loss, or they come to us for other issues that they have, chronic health issues, PCOD, PCOS, fibromyalgia. And we've always seen, and of course you can find research papers around this, and I'll tell you why also, but people who have liver problems, right, when the liver is dysfunctional, their skin is impacted big time, because your liver is heavily responsible for detoxification, and if your liver is not doing its job well, then the skin is the next organ where detox will begin. Like your body has to push out toxins, right, so it's going to start coming out from your skin. In fact, for me, when I was like 97 kgs, many years ago, 5 years, 4 years ago, I don't remember now. One of the biggest reasons why I was that heavy was also because my liver was highly congested. I had done many of these experiments with keto and intermittent fasting. And that liver congestion had impacted my skin. I had really bad skin then. But that's another symptom. So liver dysfunction can reflect in poor skin, it can reflect in digestive issues, it can reflect in feeling, really like you've eaten a heavy oily meal and then you feel very gross, you feel like you just can't digest it, you feel like nausea, and you feel really weird after eating a heavy oily meal. That's probably because your liver is not doing its job very well. Not that I would recommend eating oily meals, but I'm just saying that's a sign. What would be symptoms of your thyroid not functioning well? Well, sudden weight gain, right? Unexplainable, like you're just gaining 2 kgs, 1.5 kgs a month without any reason. So that sudden weight gain is something that the thyroid usually causes. Dry hair, dry skin, frizzy hair, hair loss, even brain fog where you're kind of feeling not very fresh, like you're forgetting things, you're losing track of things, you're not feeling very sharp and focused. That's again a sign of a thyroid dysfunction. Adrenal dysfunction, the classic symptom is that you don't feel fresh until you've had a cup of tea or coffee or some stimulant, like either a smoke or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning. If you are dependent on a stimulant to wake up in the morning, I can guarantee you that in your blood test we'll find out adrenal dysfunction. This is like, I can just even bet money on this, that if you are addicted to a stimulant in the morning, it means that your adrenals are not working well. And why am I willing to bet money on this? Because see, your adrenals job is to wake you up as soon as you wake up. Wake you up as in like get your energy ready, because humans are not nocturnal animals. We are not like lions and tigers, right? We are meant to wake up with the sun and go to bed when the sun rises. I go to bed when the sun sets. So if you are not up and ready when the sun is bright and shining, it means that your body's adrenal cycle has been reversed. And if you need your tea or coffee in the morning to wake up, it means your adrenals are not making the hormones you're supposed to make. So that's a surefire signal of adrenal dysfunction. So if you are dependent on a stimulant, I can guarantee you have adrenal dysfunction. Now the best way to find out what's really going on in your body is of course through blood tests. That's what we are experts and specialists in. That's like the easiest way also to know, and that's the most objective way. So we are not making guesses, right? We're not gambling with your health. We know that okay, this is what we have to treat, and that's how we successfully treated so many people, and that's how people have managed to keep those 2000 kgs off, right? Like I don't know where those 2000 kgs went to the planet, because I really don't know where that fat disappeared, but it's gone and it's not come back because we fixed these root causes. So that's the theory I wanted to share. We have some time. I'll just look at if there are any questions. You could ask them now, and I'll answer as many as possible before I have to go to the next session. So I see somebody's comment saying, I have no thyroid, we are having a very healthy liver, we get health checkup done, and almost all parameters are normal. Now this normal that you refer to is because you are referring to the reference ranges on your blood test, which is very different from what we do in functional medicine and functional nutrition. We have something called as an optimal range that we look at, which is far more narrower than the reference range that you see on your lab reports, and those ranges are very broad, so you could be having a dysfunction and it will be hidden in your blood test without you even noticing it. That's why a lot of doctors can't even find out what's going wrong with you. So many of our patients have gone to so many doctors and come to us and said that doctors couldn't find out what was going on until we analyzed their blood test and we said, okay, this is what is going on. So if you want to learn more about how we do this optimal range analysis, go to the website www.thrivefnc.com. There's a free ebook there. I think I'll post the link here also on this talk, and you'll find it there. So that explains beautifully what are optimal ranges, or maybe I'll just do another FB live on what optimal ranges really mean, because that's a pretty long session. So to the person who was saying that it is normal, I would recommend sending your blood test to us so that we can actually tell you whether it's normal or not. If it's normal, I'll be the happiest person on this planet, but I have seen so many cases where they think it's all normal and it's just one small thing that changes everything for them. So I wish so many times that I could have seen the blood work before an event happened where things went wrong, right? So send me your blood test. What is fatty liver? Fatty liver is where there is an excess deposit of fat on your liver. So your liver is an organ that's here. Because of too much dietary fat or because of too many toxins coming in from the environment and the liver not able to process that fat, then a layer of fat starts getting deposited around the liver, and when that happens, it prevents the liver from doing its job properly, and then that eventually leads to more weight gain. So if your liver continues to be fatty over long, it becomes fatty liver grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and then at some point liver damage, liver cirrhosis starts, where it becomes irreversible. Then even I can't reverse that damage, right? So if you have been diagnosed with fatty liver, Anuradha, please get in touch with us and we'll help you reverse that. Tina, why don't I ping you after the program, because so my name is Mugdha Pradhan. I mentioned that at the beginning of the session, but we'll ping you after this session so that we can help you understand what it takes to kind of be part of the program. Any other questions? So there's usually a delay, a lag between you asking a question and me being able to see it. That's why I've kept my laptop on as well. Alright. Yeah, Naresh, so how to check for insulin resistance? Ambika, it's done through blood tests. We'll actually reach out to you and help you with the list of tests that we ask. It's simple tests. It's nothing too complex, but we'll help you with that. So after the end of the session, either Rutuja or I will get in touch with you and tell you which are the tests that we need. Okay, and Swati, having thyroid and gaining weight, we can help you very easily with this. I know you're not eating much because of the weight gain, and that is not a very happy way to exist, because food is what keeps our body going. So we'll help you with your thyroid, don't worry about it at all. We work with many thyroid cases, like I spoke in the session. Making sure your thyroid gets its function back is the easiest way to lose weight, because weight loss becomes a side effect, right? So we'll help you. One of us will reach out to you and we'll help you with this. Anuradha, how to lose weight? I think, so for a lot of people who are asking questions on how to lose weight and how to, like, if you're struggling with specific issues, right? We do offer limited number of free consults in the week. I'll just tell you Rutuja's number, or what we'll do is we'll just ping you on your comments and we'll give you our number so that you can get you the help that you need. Now I am weirdly not seeing everybody's comments. I'm seeing there are 21 comments and questions, but I can't see all of them. So let me see. Other ways to stimulate adrenaline. So you should. So the question really is, why would you want to stimulate your adrenals unless it's necessary, right? Unless you're in a life-threatening situation, you don't really need too much adrenaline, because adrenaline as a hormone is quite corrosive. So it's important to maintain balance. So cortisol, for example, is required to get you kick-started through the day, but you don't need too much of adrenaline in your body. That's corrosive and that's really harmful. So what we have to do is bring the adrenals into balance so that when you wake up you have energy for the work you have to do through the day. And the question there is to find out what is making your adrenals deficient, right? So if your adrenals are not working well because they don't have the raw materials they need, like if they don't have enough B12 or zinc or protein or iron, if they're deficient in all of these nutrients, it's like a car trying to run without petrol, right? You might have a Mercedes or a BMW, but if you don't put petrol in it, like what's happening with the lockdown for a lot of people, you cannot start the car. It's the same thing with the adrenals, right? So if you don't give the adrenals like the raw materials that they need to work well, you might have so many deficiencies in your body which are undiagnosed, which is why the adrenals are not working well and which is why you need a stimulant. The only thing there to do is fix those deficiencies, then your adrenals will start working, they'll get the raw material they need. It's that simple. But to know whether you have deficiencies or not, you have to first get the analysis done, right? So that's something that we can help you with. Yes, Monica, this video can be seen later from starting. We will save it on the page. We'll also post it on the Thrive main page, and we will post it on, I will even post it on my personal page, but we'll download and save this video so you can watch it from the beginning. Don't worry about that. Okay, I really think there's a technical glitch here again. I can't see comments as they are coming, but please continue to comment because we will respond to them. I really have to end the session. I have to go into the next session now. It was lovely, lovely, lovely speaking here. Thank you so much. I am so grateful all of you are here listening to me speak. This is something I'm really passionate about. I have struggled with weight for so many years of my life. I was 97 kg, so I know how it feels to look at yourself in the mirror and not like what you're seeing. So I know what it feels like. I know how that makes you feel. I've been there. So I'm so grateful that you gave me this opportunity to speak with you about this. Thank you so much. This video will be there available for viewing later. You can keep asking questions. We are very responsive on our Facebook page. One of us will get in touch with you and we'd be honored to help you. Because let's make that 2000 kgs of the planet like 10,000 kgs or even more. Imagine like 1 year from now we'll say that we've made 10,000 kgs disappear from the planet. So be part of that story. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll talk about something else soon enough. Bye bye.